welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I can't believe we're in the middle of the year. It feels wild to say that it's already the end of June because I feel like the year just started. I feel like I was just doing the mid-year book freakout tag for 2021 and here I am doing it for 2022. I feel like I say that every year though. I feel like the years just are flying by faster and faster. This is a fun mid-year book check-in to kind of see how everybody's reading is going. And so I am going to be doing it today. I have the questions here on my phone, so I am going to read those off and we're gonna do this. As always, I have not prepared one bit. I don't know what my answers are going to be, so this is gonna be a fun time for both of us. The first question, as always, is the best book that you've read so far in 2022. And for me, the answer is absolutely Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I do own this book, but I have actually lent it out to my grandmother. She is reading it right now. Anxious People was a book for me that I read at the perfect time. It was just something that surprised me in so many ways. It is a bank robbery turned heist situation gone completely wrong and also completely right, and it's just one of those books that is heartwarming and hopeful while also being like devastating and hard to read at times. It's just an absolutely phenomenal book, and if you haven't read it yet, it is absolutely worth your time. Like, I just really think that everybody needs to read this book. It is so good. Question number 2 is the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. I actually haven't read a ton of sequels this year, but one that absolutely stands out to me is A Conjuring of Light by V. Schwab. This is the third and final book in the Shades of Magic trilogy. I started this trilogy back in the beginning of 2021, and I finally got around to reading the rest of the books in the series. And while I didn't love number 2, I didn't love A Gathering of Shadows at all. I think I gave it like 2 stars, to be honest. A Conjuring of Light really turned the series around for me. I flew through this book and I really loved how kind of everything turned out. I really loved how the story played out. I felt like the new introductions of characters was really well done. I was really invested in every single story, and I wanted to know how everything was going to play out. This was such a great conclusion to this trilogy. The next question is newest release that you haven't read yet but want to. I have a couple answers for this one. First off, the newest Christina Lauren book that just came out, it's called Something Wilder, I believe. I have it on audio currently from my library, or no, I have it on hold currently. I'm just waiting for the audiobook to come in from my library, and then I will be reading that one. I don't really know much about it, but I have really enjoyed Christina Lauren's last few releases, so I think I'll enjoy that one. Also, I don't really know if this one counts because it did technically come out prior to this year, but I am really excited to read The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, which kind of got traditionally published earlier this year, and I bought the physical hardcover of it because I am really excited to read it. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and again, I have a few answers for this one. First off, I can't make this video without mentioning Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I absolutely love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's one of my absolute favorite authors, and I'm really excited to read her newest release. I think it's going to be amazing. I've heard great reviews of it from people that have been reading it early. Also, I'm really excited to read the final book in the Inheritance Games trilogy. It's called The Final Gambit, and that one comes out in September, August. I think it comes out at the end of August. That's by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The Inheritance Games was one of my favorite books that I read last year, and I also really enjoyed the sequel, so I'm really excited about reading the final book in the trilogy. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just this really fun YA mystery series. It's kind of like Knives Out, but YA, and I'm excited to see where the trilogy is gonna go. The next question is your biggest disappointment of the year so far, and for me, without a doubt, it is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is not the worst book that I've read this year. That distinction goes to California by Eden Lepucki, but this is the biggest disappointment because I really thought I was going to love this. This is a historical fantasy story all about the relationship between Achilles and Patroclus, the very complicated relationship between these two characters. I had heard such great things about it. It's been such a booktube darling for years, and it's recently gotten a resurgence on Book Talk, and I finally got around to reading it because, you know, I'm like absolutely gonna love this. It was on my 5-star predictions for the year, and I don't understand. I don't understand why people like this. The writing is fine, but the characters, I felt no emotional attachment to them. I did not believe their relationship for 1 second. I didn't cry. Nothing about this book just made it scream, you know, one of the best books ever. And so, yeah, huge disappointment for me. I'm really sad that I didn't like this. I was hoping that it would be better than it was. Following that up, the next question is biggest surprise of the year for you so far. I tried to come up with something and honestly didn't come up with a better answer than this, and that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas, the first book in the Crescent City series. I never anticipated reading this series, and this book just really surprised me with how much I ended up enjoying it. I didn't love it. It's not going to be like a new all-time favorite, but I ended up liking where the story went, and I liked it enough that I want to continue on with the series. I actually just recently posted a vlog of me reading and reacting to this book, so if you want to see that, I'll leave it linked down below. But yeah, I mean, this one's kind of fresh on the brain because I did finish it pretty recently, but it did really surprise me with how much I ended up liking the story, liking where the characters and the plot went. So biggest surprise for sure is House of Earth and Blood. The next question is new favorite author, and that is like debut or new to you. And I'm not picking an author that's a debut or new to me because it's hard for an author to really find its way into my favorite authors list without me having read a couple of their books. So I am cheating a little bit, but the author I'm going with is Sally Rooney. I read Normal People last year, and it was my favorite book that I read in 2021. And the more I think about it and the more I just kind of like reflect on my reading experience of this book, I think it's probably in my top 5 books of all time. And then this year I read Beautiful World, Or Are You, also by Sally Rooney. This is her newest release, and I loved it as well. I mean, I gave both of these books 5 stars. Just the way that she writes stories, her characters, I just connect with her writing and her stories so much that after reading and loving this last year and then reading and loving this year, she's definitely found her way on my favorite authors of all time list. She's going to be like an auto-buy, auto-read author for me, and I'm just glad that I have a new favorite author to add to my favorite authors list, because it's been a while since a new author has kind of wormed their way up into my all-time favorite authors. So yeah, Sally Rooney, big surprise for me how much I ended up enjoying and connecting with her stories, but here we are. The next question is newest fictional crush. I don't really get fictional crushes. I think I say this every year that I do this tag. I don't really get crushes on fictional characters. So instead, I'm going to do my newest favorite couple or my newest favorite ship. And I am going to choose Eliana and Simon from the Imperium trilogy by Claire Legrand. I read and really liked the final 2 books in this trilogy this year. I read Kingsbane and Lightbringer, and I just love the relationship between Simon and Eliana. I do understand the problems that some people have with it, but I personally just really enjoy their dynamic, and I just wish that I could read like a whole, I don't know, epilogue or something just about the 2 of them, because I really enjoy their relationship and I think they have such great chemistry, and I don't know, I just love them. Next up is newest favorite character, and again, I'm cheating for this one because I can't choose just one. For this one, I am going with all of the Call siblings from Jade City by Fonda Lee. I love Lon and Hilo and Shay and Andon. I just love all of them so much. I think that they have such a great dynamic. I think that they all have qualities that balance them as a group of siblings. I think that they each bring something to the table in terms of their like family relationship and power. I understand that the relationships are quite complicated, and I also really appreciate that it's just a really great perspective to read from when you have all of these siblings who love and care for each other so much, but also have complicated feelings about each other. I think that that's kind of the beauty of this series, is not only we get the fantasy, the action, the mystery of it, we also get this really fantastic sibling dynamic, and I love them all so much, and I can't wait to continue on with this trilogy and read more about the Call siblings. The next question, the 10th question, is a book that made you cry, and obviously I have to go with A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, because this book broke me, absolutely. I spent the entire first like 200 pages crying, and then I spent the entire like last 250 pages crying. So yeah, this book definitely made me cry. Also, it was one of the most rewarding reading experiences that I've ever had, and I really love this book. I know it's a bit of a controversial book out there. I know some people love it, I know some people hate it. I can totally understand both sides. I personally fall on the love it side, and yeah, the crying, the absolute like emotional wreck that this book is a big draw of it for me. So I love it. And following that one up, the next question is a book that made you happy. I'm gonna choose The Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, simply because this is one of the smartest, most interesting books that I've ever read. It is all about this anomaly in time. I really love how she played with time in this book. I really love what she did with all the characters, and it made me happy. Reading this book and like like getting to that conclusion and kind of putting all the pieces together just made me so happy, and I love it. I loved it a lot. Emily St. John Mandel is also one of my favorite authors, and this book kind of solidified that for me, that I just will read anything she writes because this was such a good book. Next up is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Actually, I haven't bought a ton of books this year, and I'm very proud of myself for that, but I have two answers for this one. The first is obviously The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake, because this new cover design that she got when she traditionally published it is just absolutely beautiful. I love black and gold together. It's just one of my favorite color combinations. I love that it's so popular on book covers, and I also love the, what is it called? Like the embossing? Is it embossing? Whatever, I love that on the actual physical hardcover of the book. And then the end pages are just absolutely stunning. It's just one of the most beautifully created books that I have ever held in my hands. Also, there's just this really fantastic artwork throughout. So beautiful book, just absolutely beautiful. But a kind of an honorable mention, a runner-up to the most beautiful book, something that I also really love is gold with bright colors. And so A Brightness Long Ago by Guy Gavriel Kay. This cover is absolutely stunning. It does, the camera really doesn't do it justice. The ring light really just kind of hampers the ability to appreciate this book cover, but it is so beautiful. The orange and the gold and the white lettering right in the center, just a stunning, stunning book cover. And then finally, the last question for the mid-year book freakout tag is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So many. This whole shelf right here is all of my unread books, and I'm trying to get the amount of books on this shelf down as low as possible, but obviously I do have a 2022 TBR that I'm working my way towards. I'm halfway done with it. I've read 6 of the books, and I have 6 of the books to go, so I'm gonna say that I need to read those 6. So let me see if I can find them all. Let me see if I can remember what all of them are right off the top of my head. I've got Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. What else? The Martian by Andy Weir. Lots of sci-fi need to get to. Ray Bear by Jordan E. Fueko. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have one more. What am I missing? The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. These are like the 6 priority books from my TBR that I need to get to, because these are all on my 2022 TBR. But honestly, like I said, like all the books on the shelf, I think there's about 100 of them if I counted correctly last time. But yeah, as long as these 6 get read, then I will be a happy girl. So that's it. That's the mid-year book freakout tag. This is such a fun tag to do. It's nice to just kind of check in on your reading midway through the year, kind of see where everything's at. I love that this year I actually had some choices, because last year I really didn't have many choices, because last year my reading was 2 thumbs down, but this year so far my reading has been 2 thumbs up, so hopefully it continues to go that way. Let me know down in the comments some of your answers to these questions. Specifically, let's see, I specifically want to know what your best and also most disappointing reads of the year so far have been, because I am always looking for more books to add to my TBR and also books to avoid. So let me know all the things down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!